So in the book of Jeremiah, which takes place approximately 550 or 600 years uh, before the Common Era, there's a verse, and it looks like one of many of the verses you could find in Jeremiah. So all the kings of the north, whether far from or close to each other, all the royal lands which are on the earth, and last of all, the king of Sheshach shall drink. So if people weren't paying very close attention, they might just pass by this verse. And the thing that scholars have noted recently, and perhaps it was noticed in the past, is that as far as anyone is aware, there's no king of Sheshach. The Sheshach isn't even a place. And in past eras, and to some degree on the earth today, people aren't always free to say what they want, even when they're saying prophecy, even when they're writing it down, at least, that sometimes people need to make decisions about what they're actually going to be explicit about. And as a result, sometimes things are written in code. So Jeremiah was a prophet who was talking a lot about the exile in Babylon, which was an extremely difficult time for the Jewish people about 2500 2600 years ago. And so in one of his many verses which he's describing here, he says something that unless you looked, you might not notice. So Sheshach is often understood through this particular type of Hebrew letter morphing called Atbash. So Atbash, if it was in English, it'd be called Asby because you see the A and the Z, or A and the Z. That's the first letter and the last letter of the alphabet. And then the B is the second letter of the alphabet, and the Y is the second to last letter. So Atbash is a process. You see Aleph and Taf, this is the first and the last letter of the Aleph Bet, and Bet and Shin, that's the second letter and the second to last letter. Atbash is a process where you take a word and you swap out the letters in that way. So the first letter, if there was an Aleph in this word, it would become a Taf, right? The last letter. And you're basically swapping out. So this A here in Sheshach, you're doing in English, would become a Z. So if you do Atbash to this word, Sheshach, again, a kingdom which has never been shown to exist, what you get is the word Bavel, which is Babylon. This is perhaps the prophet Jeremiah in code talking about the king of Babylon in such a way that it wouldn't be known unless people knew. And if you knew this, the assumption is you wouldn't, send word to the authorities that Jeremiah or those writing down his words were saying this. And so there's no way of proving this is what was going on here. We know that Atbash is a later tool that's used for sure, but this could well be the earliest example of that particular form of Hebrew letter magic. Bavel from Sheshach, that you're hiding the meaning of this king, who it really is, in order to say something about him. If this video resonated with you, you can find a deeper exploration in my full online course, Introduction to Jewish Mysticism. Link is in the description.